Hey,
We're really
welcome
live.
back. We're live. Welcome back again and on YouTube. Welcome to everybody joining in. And hey, Hyperspace Heroes has already thrown in some comments while we weren't even live. So thank you, Hyperspace Heroes, for doing that. We'll just kick off where we left off because we've already recorded for 20 minutes and you're just getting to hear this now. But we've got the regular crew, we've got T Bob. It's episode 305. Guys, we got plenty to talk about. And D-Doc's giving me signs. I don't know if we're good or not, but I think we are.
Sounds good on my end.
Okay. Hey, the first thing I want to say as we're kicking off live on YouTube is I told you guys who was coming. There we go. I got the Captain Rex cosplay helmet right here,
Let's go.
fully loaded. I would put it on right now, but then I have to take off my mic and my headphones. I don't really want to do that. It's gorgeous. My wife made fun of me for putting it on, walking around the house, but I did feel very manly being Captain Rex with the helmet on. So it's here. I will make some videos with me having the Captain Rex helmet. That is the only kind of cosplay anything like that I have, and I love it. So it's
Oh
going to
wow!
myself. Yeah.
So this is your first taste and your first. This is potentially a dipping of the toe in some dangerous waters.
If
It's his
I
first step into a larger world.
Yes. Well said. Well said.
the next thing that should be here any day, and you guys already know from the last episode, the Captain America shield will be here any day now. So
How long
Nice.
till we get Joe and the Slave Leia Captain Rex combo cosplay?
With
Um,
the Captain America
I would pay to
shield.
see that.
yeah,
Yes, with the American Shield, because why not?
you know what? For any of our listeners or followers, if you guys want to start chipping in, there is dollar amounts that will make me do that.
That would be a great OnlyFans account.
I think it would be only fan. I'd probably have one person.
Yeah, it'd be me.
But that
It'd be
one
me.
that one fan's gonna chip in quite a bit of money there.
I'd be in
Yeah.
there. It is one of the part of the genius parts of the Mandalorian helmet design is it's impossible to not feel more
Mhm.
kind of manly and intimidating when you put it on.
Well,
It's wild.
you've got the LSU one from Damon One Kenobi, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Alabama fan made me it back in the day. He's awesome. Does incredible work.
Yeah, he's as D-Doc was. I think the whole crew was mentioning. We've somehow, I think because of you, we have and Joey, we have a nice little SEC following. We have a lot of Auburn, Alabama, and LSU fans that watch and listen to the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. So we appreciate you and Joey for probably starting that way back in episode 4. So yeah, that's really cool. But guys, I know we're going to talk about Skeleton Crew. Like I told you before, I can just kind of wind this up and sit back and let you guys go. Brent's got a comment though. Let's go, Brent.
Okay, I can't talk to a former college football player and not mention what's going to happen on Monday. So I need to get.
Where do our allegiances lie in this room right now, real quick?
So there's 3 people that live in Indiana. So I think whether they're Notre Dame fans or not, they're going to be Notre Dame fans on Monday.
Yes. Okay, makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm a PA man, so my mom went to Penn State, so I lightly root for Penn State. I'd like to see I'd like to see Notre Dame win. I don't want Ohio State.
So, is Ohio State? That's the big bad of the region. That's the assholes, the Yankees,
right.
Alabama of the region, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, they're the Alabama of the region, right? Like, yes, them. And
So
Michigan.
nobody's rooting for Ohio State except for Ohio State fans.
Correct, and they feel like they feel like they're getting pooped on, and that it's all the hate machine, and the narrative is against them.
Well, I mean,
the
thing is, this is like it's like the movie Little Giants. Ohio State feels like the Cowboys, and Notre Dame with all their injuries and they're kind of like no superstars, like they are the Little Giants, and like I think it's crazy because traditionally I feel like Notre Dame is a team that people love to shit on. So
Yes.
Ohio State's done the impossible and made Notre Dame into the lovable underdogs.
Yes,
Yeah.
they like that's what I said. If you're from Indiana, you probably don't like Notre Dame, but I think in this game you'll probably root for them. I don't know.
I was rooting for the Hoosiers, dude. I was going hard for the Hoosiers all year long.
I think the Hoosiers can hang their hat on one thing this year. The 2 teams in the national championship are the 2 teams they lost to this year.
Yeah,
and they were
And they beat
decent
Michigan.
games.
Yeah.
And they were decent games. It wasn't like they got blown out in those games. Like they didn't look good against Ohio State. Like, let's not kid ourselves.
No,
but
yeah.
it wasn't like a complete like poop stomp.
No. Indiana was good this year.
Yeah.
People, I don't care. Like they were really good this year.
So you said this was like Little Giants. Does that mean we're going to get the annexation of Puerto Rico?
I hope so, dude. I hope that when Great House is out there, he's imagining that football's a roll of toilet paper. It'll never, and he'll be locked in.
The new play they've got this year, though, is the annexation of Greenland.
Terrible.
Thank you.
So, hey, T-Bob, who do you think from all of your watching?
Yeah.
What is your pick?
So I have picked Notre Dame every game up until this point.
Ooh.
I do think, though, that this is a little too much to overcome. I hope that I'm wrong. I think I'm kind of going with a bit of a chalky play in Notre Dame to kind of cover. I think it's like 8.5, 9.5, but Ohio State to win. I just the main thing I can't get over with Notre Dame's the injuries, man. They were less injured.
But you thought Ohio State, Georgia?
Yeah, I picked them to beat Georgia because people, in my opinion, whatever, you get shit right and wrong all the time, so it doesn't really matter, right? But this was a read where, in my opinion, I felt like Notre Dame was way better than what Georgia fans thought. Like, basically, the starters were equal. Only Georgia was starting a quarterback that had like 60 career plays, and Notre Dame starting one that has 47 starts. Like it was like, and you kind of ended up seeing that a little bit. So the problem here is I can see about 5 or 6 different ways Ohio State wins. I see like one.
Yeah.
Where Notre Dame wins. So they got to do their own, they got to do a little Paul Atreides. They got to do a little Doctor Strange. Like, you got to find the one reality in which you emerge on top here. Maybe they can. I hope they can. Like I said, I'll be rooting for them.
Hey, real quick, guys, in the comments, Matt, I don't know if you're a first-time listener or a long-time listener. Matt loved our podcast with Jonathan Davis, which
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Star
That's
Wars
been a while.
Book,
that's like 3 years ago, man.
Yeah. It was a good interview. We've had him and Mark Thompson on here, and they've done great jobs with the audiobooks. So, yeah, thank you for that. And I love that. Ohio State is a resistance cartoon of the college football universe. That is fabulous. Yeah, so keep those comments coming. Here we go. Adam Parker's joined in. Here we go.
Yeah, let's go.
T-Bob, between you and Adam Parker, I've already been told when I do get to LSU with Joey, I'm taken care of. So,
oh yeah, absolutely, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Guys, let's start off with some of the easy ones here. The Force Awakens, 10 years. The Rise of Skywalker, Revenge of the Sith, 20 years. I know we talked a little bit about it, but man, how quick has that gone? It doesn't seem right. T-Bob, how old were you when those two came out? 20 and 10 years ago.
Okay, so 20 years ago was 05. So I would have been a sophomore in high school. And I went, so my now wife, who I have 3 kids with and have been married forever, we were best friends at that time, but one of our first dates was actually to see Revenge of the Sith.
Whoa.
And so I think I may have already seen it at the time. And then maybe I was saying, no, I don't think I had actually. No, it was my first time seeing it. And I remember she had like a little jean miniskirt on. I was like super nervous, kind of trying to flirt with her. But yeah, we like watched like SEC football all day at somebody's house. Then we were and saw Revenge of the Sith. And
awesome.
It was awesome.
Like a great day.
Yeah, and it was awesome. We watched football was one of our first dates, and now 20 years later, here we are married with 3 kids.
Absolutely crazy stuff.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's a cool little
I haven't thought about that forever.
About like 20 years.
And then Force Awakens, I was like fresh out of college, had a job, and I was doing radio 8 to midnight in New Orleans. And I remember the night it came out, I went and saw it on the West Bank at like 1 a.m. I think was the start time. Mm-hmm. And so I got out about like, I don't know, 4 or something like that. And I loved Force Awakens. I was like head over heels so hyped leaving that movie.
I would agree. I think we've talked about it. I left Force Awakens thinking the sky is the limit for the sequel trilogy right here.
Yeah.
They left it to where wide open. We could get anything on this. So yeah, Force Awakens. It does seem weird to me that 10 years ago that came out, 5 years ago. So it took 5 years for us to even put this podcast together after that. But it's been 5 years since we've had a movie. I mean, it's been 5 years since The Rise of Skywalker came out.
That's wild.
I mean, it was.
What was it?
The Last Jedi inflection point's a hell of a thing, And I know that I fall on the opposite side of y'all, but that is the disturbance. That is the point in which the timelines really start to get a bit wonky, and everybody starts to go a bit sideways on each other.
Would have been about 17 years, Brent.
Okay, so between Sith and Force Awakens is like 10 years, basically 20 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then between Return of the Jedi and Phantom was, you said, about 17?
16, 17 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go, Alfie, right here.
83.
Check it out. We have a request.
What's that say? Hey, Luke, thanks for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. It's really good.
Yeah, come hop back on after you watch the finale and let us know what you think here, James and Luke.
Right, but why is James just asking for Alfie to give him a shout out?
I work with James.
I get it. I do get it. But I mean, like, what am I, chopped liver over here?
Brent,
Come on.
you've been recognized by multiple people from this podcast. All right, I've never had anyone recognize me in public for anything in my life. Still,
I am the most recognized. Hey, Britt Dykman from Rule the Gotcha podcast.
Let's go.
I am the supreme leader.
Wait, but D-Doc's like a TikTok
I know.
YouTube star.
I
Like,
know.
What are you talking about?
I
He
always
gets
wonder,
upset.
man. One day at Home Depot, I just want one person to be like, I just want them to. All I want is a head nod. I don't even want them to say anything. I want them to just give me a. And I
you
would give
just
it right
need
back.
you just need your Batman, Dark Knight, Christian Bale at the cafe. You just
That's
need
all I
Michael
want.
Caine to just give you a little,
Yep.
give you one of these.
D-Doc,
Make everything worth
it is
Hold
really
up
wild.
a package of shower filters. Give you a little head nod.
Yeah, exactly.
It is really wild. You're wanting that, and I'm the guy who, when I go places with Joey, I'll be walking around with him, and people will look at him and then look over at me and kind of like give that nod, like, "Is that?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
doing the nod, like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Gotcha." I have like, it's wild, and I sit there and I'm like,
Perfect.
"Am I his buffer?" I don't know. I guess I'm the buffer on there. And that,
You're a good buffer, man.
yeah.
Be careful. You pronounce the B and not an F. It's okay. Just make sure.
Yeah,
I
no.
thought I'd heard you were a good fluffer. Is that,
Just make sure you pronounce it as a B, not an F.
Yeah.
I also got to say, I listened to his latest These Guys podcast, and I feel for Joey. He had a rough ride in Disney.
He did. He
Little
did.
Frankie got the
oh, what
you got
happened?
you got the throw up bug last day there, right?
Yeah, yeah. We got the full rundown when he got back, and it was, Frankie's not feeling good. He starts going, and then just profuse vomit all over Joey, all over Frankie. Now, Disney, I will say this: we rip on Disney on certain things, and we praise Disney on certain things. But Joey went into a shop and was like, "Hey, you can see me and my kid are covered in vomit." Disney just said, "Pick out a shirt." Basically,
Bro, that
it's
Disney
for you.
customer service doesn't fuck around. Me and my wife are Disney World nerds, and like you said, there's always things that whatever, but like they take care of you.
Yep.
Top
That
tier.
is one thing. When you're there, they take care of you.
And
Disney
all
World,
this
Disneyland, top tier service, pretty much anywhere
Yeah.
you go.
all this is going to be is a great bit for him going forward, too, right?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely, 100%.
I mean, that's comedy gold. Like everybody can
well-
relate, and then if you just play it up and you make it like that's going to be comedy gold for years.
Oh yeah.
Also, it's something that I think. So this guy that listens to the critiques, or talks about games a lot, or game theory and stuff. He talks about the paradox of human adversity to enjoyment, where a lot of the times shit that is the hardest to do or sucks at the time or you hate it is the stuff that you end up being most proud of or you cherish or you look back on and you're like, oh my God, remember that? Like if the trip goes off without a hitch, it's great, but it's not as memorable as just being covered in puke
Driving
for 2
home
days
in your
straight, driving
underwear
home with
from
it. Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
you will
I always
never
say you're
forget
not a
that.
parent until you drive home in your underwear.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay, Alfie, win. I need a little bit of more.
So I'll pick one of the times. Oh, let's see. I was working third shift at the time. I had a night off. Enzo was maybe 3. Azalea was still a newborn, so
You
an
mean
hour or so.
yeah.
Yeah, Inslee was
Yeah.
a newborn. Hour, whatever, to get ready, get the kids bathed, dressed, in the car, or whatever. 30 seconds from home, they're both asleep. So now we can't really go and do anything. So my wife is like, hey, pull in Kohl's. I got a bill to pay real quick. That'll kill some time. And
This is
just
not
keep driving
okay.
home.
Yeah.
I thought it was going somewhere else.
Yeah, I did
thought it was
too.
going somewhere else. I was like, great.
Pull in.
yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't that kind of story. I thought you wanted a bad story. So she comes back in and gets in the car and she's like, do you smell that? I'm like, no. What? And then I'm like, oh my God. Yes. Now that you said it, I completely smell it. And the baby had completely filled up the car seat.
Oh,
Yeah.
And within moments, it's yeah. Now she's trying to clean it up. Now my wife's she's got it on her dress, and now she's she's getting the baby undressed. Now she's undressed, and I end up driving home, and
Hey,
yes,
now.
they were both in pretty much down to nothing and crying at the same time about the ruined day off and the ruined night out, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
My daughter's 1-year-old threw up in his car seat 2 days ago. She hasn't gone anywhere since because she's been attempting to clean out the car seat and she can't figure out all the nooks and crannies.
Bro, it's I like to park in front of the TV and just put something on because I know I'm gonna be there a while. And I'm just like searching for all little little rubber bands where they're hooked in. Okay.
I threw away a brand new car seat in an Arby's dumpster in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Love it.
I took a look at it and said, fuck that.
That sounds like a Johnny Cash song right there. Oh man, all the things and now being an empty nester and being a grandfather, things I really don't have to worry about unless it's an emergency situation. Those are I've got a separation zone, so it's kind of good. So you guys are battling.
I should hope Joey's not shitting on you still.
No, I'm saying the grandkids. The grandkids
happens to the best of us.
And I sit there and I'm like, hey, kids, take care of your kids. I'm not messing with that. So, yeah, Adam Parker's been there with all of our stories. Guys, I'll hop on to the next one because I'm sure we're going to go off kilter again. Andor Season 2 comes out in April. I am looking forward to this series because I think every 3 episodes being a different year is going to be fantastic. And then Celebration Japan. T-Bob, you going to Celebration Japan? Happens right
that'd
before.
Be incredible. I would love to. Again, I'm a big Disney nerd. I want to go to Japan just in general one day, but I actually do really want to check out Disney Japan.
Tokyo Disney.
Yeah, Tokyo Disney.
It looks awesome, man. That's on my bucket list as well.
And I've heard everything's more affordable and stuff too. And interesting. Once you get there, right? I guess the flight's the big hang up. I don't know, man. I don't even go out to eat with restaurants right now because
you get 3 kids and 6.
Yeah. So we a whiles away yet.
No, we actually have friends of the show that will be there. Mark Newbold of Panther Tracks, he's going, and he's going to be in Japan for 13 days. So he's excited about that. And then our Alfie and I, our Uncle Matt, he's going to go there and actually be doing some speaking things about Star Wars collecting. So he's really pumped. So we'll get some feedback from those two when they get back from Celebration Japan. But right after that's done, Andor comes out, and I think this, it went up the ladder a little bit all the time when I've watched it, rewatched it. Andor is something I think we can all get jacked about to watch this final season because it's going to lead right into Rogue One. So I think there could be only good things in there. We've got Krennic back, we've got K2SO, the people who were in the first season are in it. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this one goes. Any thoughts from you guys on Andor season 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be awesome. I want somehow to see Jyn Erso. I don't know how it would make sense because in Rogue One it starts off with him meeting her. There's got to be mention.
Yeah.
There's got to be mention of her though in it for him finding her at least.
That would have. Okay, I could see mentioning, but I think physically she could have been in the first season. Time wise, it might have matched up, but at this point, she would no longer be with Saw Gerrera for her to physically be at his base.
The only thing I can think of is that Mon Mothma and Bail might bring her up and discuss her leading into it because they have that plan put together before Rogue One starts, right? Of going and tracking her down.
Right. You could definitely explore on how they come across her name, how they put together that Lyanna Kalkit is Jyn Erso and that she's been arrested and in an Imperial prison. But
yeah, it would be tough to wedge
as slow
her in
as
there.
this show moves, Mon Mothma getting past the wedding preparations, I don't know. And that's really one reason why I'm not looking forward to this season. I shouldn't say I'm not, but I am looking forward to it. But then again, I'm not because everything I disliked about the first season is typically what most people that love Andor really like.
True. I mean, I
think
agree.
You're going
That's
to
me.
lose that in these, 3-story arcs or 3-episode arcs.
You're saying it's going to move faster? You're saying that it has to move faster since it's only 3?
It's going to have to move. You cannot have an 8-episode arc about Mon Mothma opening up a rat hole checking account. It's got to move a little bit quicker than that. There can only be so many dinner parties that you can go to.
I think, but you, I mean, I think you nailed it though, in terms of if you enjoyed Andor season 1, which I've head over heels in love with.
Right. That
but
stuff drove me crazy.
My wife didn't like it. She thought it was too slow. I felt like I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, every single episode.
I just don't get that.
Like just high tension.
Really like that. It makes you feel that way.
I mean, look, Andor is about one man for me. Luthen Rael, Stellan Skarsgård. The monologue that he has in season 1 is one of the greatest monologues ever put to film. I don't care, movie, TV show, anything. I've been forced to adopt the tools of my enemies, to see a sunrise I can never enjoy. A man who is truly so committed to the cause as to completely lose himself, know he'd lose himself, and know that he's never going to reap any of the benefits for what he's committed his life to. It is like,
how many times
I got goosebumps just talking about. I've watched it. I mean, like 50 times, 100
great
times.
Great monologue, but you had to wake me up, and I had to start it over to rewatch it to know that.
Bob, I got goosebumps as you were saying it. That was amazing.
It is, and that's just like a paraphrase, right? Like it's a minute long. I go rewatch it all the time, but it is like Luthen Rael is the character more than any other that I'm so fascinated to learn what his full story is, because he never existed before, and he's doing and of course it makes sense. Of course, the person who does the majority of the heavy lifting in this situation is not going again to reap any of the benefits,
right.
And how ruthless he has to be, and that is, and again, there's nothing good about it. It's an objectively evil thing, you could argue, but it calls into all sort of philosophical questions about evil in the service of good. And that's why I think he is really just fascinating, and I cannot wait to see what he does this next season.
Yeah, but are you sure you're gonna get the backstory that you want? Because what we have, there's a lot of people from this show, at least on my social medias, that wanted more of the backstory for a few of the characters in Skeleton Crew. So do you think that you're gonna get the background that you want from Luthen?
I don't want background. I don't want background on Luthen. I want to know what happens to him. Okay. His background is immaterial in that it is so well communicated who he is, what his motivations are, what drives him, how he presents it all as a front, sociopathic in how he manages his personalities. Like it's cool to think about his background, but I'm ultimately interested in where he's going. And that's why and again, I mean, everything's about execution, right? No idea is inherently good or bad. It's whether or not you execute. And Tony Gilroy, the writer, is a master writer. I mean, he's the man behind boards. My brother's a screenwriter, and like screenwriters apparently all like nerd out over Michael Clayton. That might be the greatest screenplay ever written, like from a screenwriter perspective. And that's Tony Gilroy. Like, you have elite talent crafting the story here. And I think it's such a wonderful juxtaposition of such a kid-friendly show and Skeleton Crew right into really high quality what I would consider an adult Star Wars show, and it kind of breathes a little life back into it all by showing no, it still can be really fucking good. You just have to execute on your vision. I don't mean that like in a that's very easy way, because I get it. That's so much easier said than done. Like, creating this all is a combination of a billion different disciplines, and that's why when it all comes together, we call it magic. But I feel like I got the magic with Skeleton Crew, and I definitely got the magic with Andor season 1. And so I'm really excited to feel that again, hopefully for Andor season 2.
I want to see for sure more Slapface and his girl. I want to see what were their names again? I forget.
It's Deidre or Deborah, Deidre, and starts with an S.
I got to see where that goes. I mean, honestly, it started off bad. It got awkward, and I'm wondering.
It was more than awkward.
Especially when the fight in Ferrix was going on.
Closet.
And they were in the closet. Yeah. I still think she's going to beat the crap out of him. She doesn't want him. He wants her.
Well,
this episode of Skeleton Crew actually made me think of him.
Okay. When we get to Skeleton Crew, I want to hear how that correlates. So save that. Yes.
Was there cereal in this episode? I'm trying to think
but
cereal in it.
This was taking cereal to the next level. And I kind of, when I saw it, I thought, "Ooh, I bet Tony Gilroy hates it."
There we go.
Cyril.
From
yes,
Adam
I
Parker.
said Cyril, and his name is Cyril. Yeah.
Now I know what you were talking about. I thought you were talking about the cereal he was eating.
No, I thought he was. No, I thought it was too.
I was talking about the cereal that he was eating, and his name is Cyril.
Hey, D-Doc, Dr. Squatch joins us always. Dr. Squatch, War Eagle, right, Alfie?
That's right, War Eagle.
Yeah.
So
while we're talking about Andor, before we switch over to Skeleton Crew and other topics, I will tell you, I mentioned it. I'm checking out that Star Wars Reign of the Empire, the book. I'm getting a pre-copy here.
Mm-hmm.
If you like all the stuff you're talking about here, D-Doc, with Saul and Mon Mothma and Bail and all those kind of things, you're gonna this year, when this book comes out, Alexander Freed. I'm not allowed to tell you anything about it except it's good. You're gonna like it.
I've read some excerpts of it. It's pretty good.
No.
You've already dropped knowledge on it about like the characters that are in it. You didn't.
Those have been posted. Yeah, those have been posted.
Yeah.
Those are posted out there.
Yeah, there was paragraphs of it that were posted on.
It's a good embargo-abiding man right there.
That's right. That's right. All I can say is I'm over halfway through, and it brings it's the meat and potatoes that Brent likes of that building the rebellion kind of stuff. Yeah. It's really good. So,
which is why I love Andor, right? Because it's showing you, because there's there has to be different pockets, and it has to be put together because they're just.
Did it really even show anything now?
What's that, Andor?
Yeah.
Yeah, Luthen, right? It shows that Luthen is out there trying to scavenge people.
Yeah,
and then he's got little pockets.
You're seeing how they're creating these little wins, compartmentalizing. I like little pockets,
really?
Exactly how you're describing.
And Rebels,
they got a bunch of rebels killed.
But again, it's a
win in the long run.
It's playing with a very real historical example, like when in World War II the Americans had the Enigma machine broken, right? But you had to let some Nazi attacks go through because you couldn't afford to let them know that it was broken. So you had to do that awful decision process of, okay, when do we
Which
draw
one?
the line? Like, what
Right.
do we have to stop? What are we
Right.
willing to let people go to their death? And that's a crazy decision to have to wrestle with. And I feel like they did a good job of highlighting that in season 1.
I will agree to a point, but to me, it needed to show a little bit more than just some talking.
I think we're going to get
Like,
that
I
in the
keep-
second season.
Like I have said from the beginning, I can say that I disliked Andor. I did not enjoy
Yeah.
it. However, I can recognize that it is the best of the best Star Wars in 99 out of 100 categories. It's just not entertaining to me.
Interesting.
And I think, would I like it to be a little more entertaining? Yes. Do I want it to be? No, because then that is going to take away from everything that you and Brent like about the show. And that is where I think, and maybe he'll pull it off. I hope he does pull it off and be able to keep that quality in much shorter segments.
Yeah, little bursts.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm always like, if you do something that I really enjoy, like I'm gonna give you, I like to err on the side of positivity going in. I'm gonna give, like, I trust the team that made season 1 because of how much I enjoyed season 1. So again, but that cuts both ways. So if you didn't, then obviously I understand your skepticism or hesitancy.
Gotcha. Is there anything else you guys, I know, T-Bob, we don't get you on here very often, so if there's a topic you want to hit or any topic outside of Skeleton Crew that anybody wants to hit, either new purchases or, I mean, I'd love to see the Black Series Neil, Alfie, if you've got him around here anywhere. And there he is.
Oh, no
nice.
way, dude.
Getting a little glare there, but yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
that
Is that
is
an
so
Amazon,
nice,
or did you
dude.
find him in?
I
the
ordered
wild?
it from Hasbro.
Oh,
themselves.
straight from the
I didn't know
straight
you
from the
could
horse's-
order from Hasbro Pulse.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought you
Yeah.
had to have a number or be a member or something.
Only if you want to buy in bulk, Alfie. If you want to buy in bulk.
I did get a full price Black Series this week.
Let's
Is that the
go.
Grogu? What is it,
IG-88. That's
IG-12?
IG. That's
No,
IG
it's
Nanny
12.
Droid.
Yeah,
IG-12. Sorry, yeah.
Dude, it comes with 2 of the Babu Fricks too.
Oh, that's nice.
As
And then you can
aliens.
throw Grogu right in the driver's seat on him. Yeah, I got lucky with that. It was a $35 one, and for some reason the app said it was 21, and the late night dude at Target was like, "I'll give it to you for 21." I don't give a shit. I was like,
I need Neil's entire family. I need those little adorable little triplets. Like, my daughters love little critters. I need like little critters Star Wars line, and Neil's family is one of the first purchases available.
absolutely.
You know what, T-Bob, I always loved the story what you told Joey and I way back in episode 4 of your dad saying,
Oh, dude.
you know what, I'm going to take you, we're going to go get some Star Wars stuff, and you loaded up. I would love
It's the
to
greatest
see
day ever.
I'd love to see you repeat that with your little ones. Of course, there's no Toys R Us or no, whatever like there used to be, but man, to be able to just go
I know.
somewhere.
The other hang up there is too, I'm not an NFL player. So that was the other crazy part. Is that he could afford to just be like, you know what?
Let's
Fuck it.
do it.
Let's
do it.
just go big.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was one of the greatest days of my life. I still have them all though. I mean, missing some parts, but I still have all the figures. They're just in the attic awaiting the day when I think the kids are ready for them. When they watch Star Wars.
Awesome. Well, I will tell
They
you.
watch Skeleton Crew.
I will tell you, I was messaging with Nick Shesky. I know all the guys here. We miss having him on board. Nick is like you, 3 boys, I think all under 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he Irish too?
but he wanted me to tell you hi, T-Bob, and I'm actually working with Nick because he had written, gosh, Brent, it was I don't know how many pages long, but he wrote a
short story,
Grand Moff Tarkin short story that happened right before Star Wars and all this kind of stuff, and so I've asked him because now you can throw stuff into Chat GPT and have it do whatever. I said I need that sent to me. Let's throw it into Chat GPT and expand on it, all this kind of stuff. Throw some more time, some more characters in there, and see what we can do with this bad dude, because it was a great book that he wrote, short story. But I want to see where we can go with it. But he did want me to tell you.
Hell yeah!
hello,
Tell
Sister.
Chef's so I know Nick too. Nick knows the books.
Yeah.
I feel like from talking to like through and through, like true lore master.
Yeah, he is a book guy. Yeah,
that is awesome, dude. I want to read it. Send it my way.
You know what? He's sending me a fresh copy because I can't find it anywhere in my files. But when I get it, I will forward it to you. So
hell yeah.
So we got you guys all together here. We know what just happened, and I'll throw it out there because I just want to kind of like take the hand grenade, let it go into you guys, and let you guys run for next half an hour. But for me, this was a show that, if there are flaws, I'm not finding many. It's fun. The actors were good. The music was good. The world building was good. The child actors were fantastic in the roles they played. I liked that Jude Law ended up being the bad guy. I'm perfectly okay with that. And I like that at the end, you saw that little glimmer of hope in Wim's eye when somebody reminded him he didn't have to take the assessment. But overall, this story hit me in the feels everywhere, from me being a comic book reader back in the 70s when Star Wars had in their Marvel comics actual pirates in there, and stealing the name Crimson Jack, who was one of those Star Wars pirates back in the 70s in Marvel. All that wrapped together. I didn't want this series to end. I'm ready for season 2. That's how much I enjoyed it. And I will say, after some ups and downs in Disney Star Wars, this one has me feeling on a high note, and I'm excited about the next project. So that's my encapsulation of it in a nutshell. I want you guys to go hog wild with your high points, whether it's Neil being in the bathtub twice, whether it's whether it's bringing out the cannon that Alfie called way back when. Hey, that cannon's going to come back into play on top of the school. Figuring out who the supervisor.
Did not realize that. Good call, Alfie.
Yeah, supervisor. Find out it's a robot. Anything. All topics are up for game. You guys go. Tell me what you want to hit.
So the supervisor reminded me of the ship from WALL-E.
Oh,
the Buy and Low ship. Not saying that it was an exact replica or whatever, but I just throwing that out there since you mentioned the supervisor being a computer.
Did y'all think so? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brent.
No, that was it. You're good.
No. I was gonna just. Did y'all think that? My bad, dude. Did y'all think? So when they first mentioned the supervisor, I thought, oh, that's an AI, like for sure. But then somewhere along the line, I started to talk myself into, oh, well, maybe it's the old pirate captain, maybe it's his consciousness, or he's like somehow still alive. But it was interesting. I thought that, or did y'all expect it to be an AI? I'm guessing. I'm asking.
Yeah.
I was thinking he wasn't anything, honestly. Because I felt like,
oh, that would have made sense too.
Because like they've just been going on doing their thing because they've been told that the supervisor's there. That lore has just been recycled, and they just buy into it and believe it. And so
they did kind of play with that, right? Because you had like the dust on the chairs and everything. So they kind of did lean into this as just a kind of an autonomous operation, just in perpetual motion machine that's just like going.
I think it may have been more at one time, because why else would there be chairs in the other consoles? But at some point the AI took over. And
it was like the
I was with you on the WALL-E, and also mixed with 2001.
I mean, it's Hal. Yeah, it's mega Hal vibe.
And mixed with Silo, if you've been watching Silo. So.
But it all comes from Hal. I mean, they don't all come from Hal, right? But like, I feel like if you're a movie, if you're a director in one of these things, or the artist, and you do that red eyeball, that red light, you know what you're paying homage to, what you're showing love to. Look, I'm head over heels for this show, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I did mention the family stuff earlier about how it's the first show that me and my girls watched together, and they loved it as well, and that was so like special. But whatever, like, sure, maybe that's affecting some of my opinion, but also like this is a show perfectly made for me. I am obsessed with John Williams in Steven Spielberg and the movies that they created in the 80s and what they do to my brain chemistry and how I remember them. And this was, I mean, I've probably seen Goonies, no joke. Because me and my brother used to watch it every day for every summer for years. I mean, I've literally probably seen it 100 times. And that's not like, I'm not just saying like, it's maybe the most watched movie I have in my life when I sit down and think about it. And so this is E.T., Goonies, bit of Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just it's a Spielberg-esque romp all the way down to the child actors, which are so well executed. As you said, the music, beautiful. It is, and it's executed well. Like somebody came in with a concept, let's do Spielberg and Star Wars, like kid Spielberg and Star Wars, and they fucking nailed it. I mean, the first time I saw The Suburbs, I was just tickled pink. And this last episode, to get an actual pirate raid on the suburbs, the bombardment of the suburbs, and they're riding their, it's like the ultimate, it's like Spielberg, but taken to this sci-fi insane fantasy degree where you have kids, instead of riding bikes in the neighborhood, they're riding speeder bikes, evading like cannonballs from pirate ships. It was fucking awesome, dude. It was so good. It was such an adventure. And it was a satisfying ending that still left a lot of room for storytelling potentially. And I even felt for Jude Law. And I love that they made him bad and they made him ruthless, but not so ruthless. He still obviously kind of didn't want to kill anybody.
He had feelings, yeah.
He had every chance to kill the parents, and he didn't.
And never did. He just kept trying to stop him. He just kept trying to stop him. And you saw that wistful look at the end when it's all crumbling down around him, and he nailed that. And what I love is Law, once again, calls into something that I think Last Jedi and other stuff has tried to play with. This idea of like, are the Jedi actually right when they talk about cutting off attachments and love and hope and becoming these sort of monolithic, emotionless beings? And it was interesting to hear him kind of spout things that we normally hear with like, this is what you're supposed to do. But he spouted, it's like, well, this is how I got here.
Well, I like that when he's giving that speech to Wim, was he talking about the Jedi? Or
maybe not. That's how I took it.
That also kind of really, and this goes into what you're saying, isn't that basically the same way you should live as a pirate?
Yeah, yes.
So
okay, yes,
the
exactly.
good guys
true.
and the bad guys are essentially living the same style, but for different reasons. And it applies to both of them to be successful.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's something I feel pretty strongly about, is that the Jedi are kind of a story of the dangers of bureaucracy and kind of almost litigating and rule following to a point where all humanity, the kind of, or, goodness, the thing you're supposed to be protecting or defending in the first place, you kind of lose sight of that because, well, these are the rules and this is how you're supposed to be. And then they're beholden, to a government and everything. So it's interesting to hear that's what I feel about the Jedi. I feel like they lost
the council spills all these rules, but then because one of the A Jedi is winning the war for them, it's okay to look past what they know he's doing wrong until the war's over. And then all of a sudden they say, well, actually, no, you're not good enough to be a master because you don't follow our rules. But yesterday, when we needed you to rescue the Chancellor, we were okay with that. But now today...
I mean, the turn of Anakin is something that maybe originally felt quick, but I feel that when you dive into the lore and then through stuff like Clone Wars and everything else, obviously, but even just maybe rewatching and really thinking about what happened. Maybe that's one of the movies for not always selling it as good, but it is a very legitimate turn. How he ends up being so poisoned against the system that created him.
Yep. D-Doc, Brent.
So, sorry, Doc, I'm going to jump in. But so the thing that I think I said in the text chain is the fact that this show has captured what I think everybody liked about Star Wars Episode 4, right? A New Hope. The fact that it's the plucky underdogs that come up, and I think that's a message that I took away from it too. Was like, keep chugging, and eventually you will, even though you are outmatched, you will find a way. There are ways to overcome all those obstacles, which was the same kind of message that was being sent about the rebels beating the Empire, the small plucky upstarts. So I feel like that was a message that I took from it, and I feel like this show played into that message really well.
Especially the end.
Yes.
When the
Mhm.
not the Resist, the New Republic showed up. That is something that I think we shy away from now. The good guys showing up to save the day without some kind of message or some underlying thing
Mhm.
that you're trying to express. There wasn't anything but the actual good guys showing up and saving the day, and I
I
like
mean,
that.
it was like in the title itself. I
Yeah.
gotta be honest, man. I'm nervous for AT-AT.
Oh yeah.
It's now been thrust into politics at large. And
Yeah.
they're now going to they got a lot of gold.
Mhm.
But
Like they're worth a lot to a
But
lot
no
of
one
people.
knew about the gold.
Is it worth
But
anything?
now they do. I mean, well, I would say yes, because remember when he's at the Sodom and Gomorrah, the pirate hangout, they're fucking
Yep.
freaking out
Yeah,
for
but they're
what the
pirates.
Republic credit. Yeah, for sure. But if it's worth, but a black market's just a reflection of any market, right? Like if it's worth that much there,
Well,
it's still very, and they got a
I
lot.
can
A lot.
trade a dime bag, but I can't go into a grocery store and lay that down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I absolutely yes.
Did I
yes.
did I just
like does it
did I
play
just
with
hear
the-
Alfie's
yes,
correctly? Did it like
Yeah,
yes,
you did.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, but like
No, I get what you're saying. Yes.
yes,
There's-
still yes, exactly. So it may not be legal tender in
Right.
in a New Republic, but everybody they're
Everybody
pumped to
wants
get
it.
And
I
we know that
mean-
the New Republic is already mired in bureaucracy and
Yeah.
is inept
Correct.
at governing.
It's the same
so
shit.
It
It's the
doesn't
same
look
shit.
good for this planet.
You
No.
know, one of the things I'll just hop in here that one of the lines that I really liked when we were talking. We'll go back to the supervisor. Was when he asked Jod, "Which one are you lying about? Being the
Yeah.
emissary or being a Jedi?" Because the last message I got was that all the Jedi have been killed, and so you're thinking, okay, he got that message during the time of the Revenge of the Sith.
Right?
Right? So
Yeah.
that's how long that planet has been even more secluded and more hidden than it was before.
And he also knew that there was no freaking emissary coming. So all of these
Yes.
people that thought people were coming to AT-AT and to make trades, no one showed up. So
Forever.
the AI
Yeah.
was like, "Who the hell are you? I know you're not somebody important."
Right.
And then he said the Jedi made him also like question it too. But like that just proves the fact that what I was trying to say, and there are people thinking people were coming in and out. No one was coming. Like they hadn't had
No.
anyone there for
No.
a long time.
Yeah, you called that like
did.
probably like 3 weeks ago too, Brent, and I didn't want to believe that. I wanted it to just be some asshole up there. Like that's what I wanted it to be when they got up there. But yeah, that Jude Law's acting and was the best of the series. He was great the whole series. He turned it up a notch for this episode because he had this whole inner struggle going on. Because
Yeah.
believe it or not, he does actually care about the kids, even though he is an asshole. Like, he could have easily shot Fern and her mom when they were going for it. There's no doubt in my mind he missed them on purpose in that spot. I think he's just trying to be like, stop
1,000,000%.
messing with me, like, please. But I thought one of the best parts about it was this show did such a good job of making you suspicious of certain things going on throughout it. I was suspicious of Fern's mom. I always felt like she kind of knew something, and then you realized she's just born into this, and this is just her entire life, and she's just like, you're gonna get to meet the supervisor, and it's just
Yeah.
this big droid head up in there, and she's just like, you
Hey.
know. He also did the Qui-Gon with the lightsaber. You know, when Qui-Gon's
Oh, yeah.
opening the doors
Oh,
and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
You know, bit
I
of
told
a
you
bit
last
of a,
night that was Wizard.
bit of a bad design maybe from the AI to basically make themselves a human, with like a brain, like, oh yeah, you can just kill me if you stab this one spot. But I don't know, maybe he's got a boot up program that just takes a while.
Another thing that I think happens with good Star Wars is they add a wrinkle to the Force. Either they add something new, so like Phantom Menace, you got Force speed right off the jump. You had you when you talked about Qui-Gon like melting the door and Jude Law.
Yeah.
Have we ever seen anyone resist a Force pull before?
Like between Rey and Kylo?
No, like the kids pulling back on the lightsaber when Jod was trying
Yeah,
to
they
take
were
it out of their
doing
hand.
the Thanos on that.
Has that ever happened before? Like it was a new wrinkle to me. I was like, huh.
Well, I mean, they were struggling to hold it back.
Yeah, but they were still. I mean, they were still
Yeah.
resisting it, right? They were making it harder for him because I don't know. In my brain, every time I've ever seen a force push or a force throw, it's always like
Full
zip.
on.
It's always.
But then what do we think Jude Law is, right? Because it doesn't. I mean, it's not explicitly stated, but I kind of feel like he was a kid, a youngling, a Padawan, like he may not be that powerful in the Force because everything he did was kind of a little parlor trickish. Yeah, probably not.
He described
just
it,
youngling.
Made it seem like he was found after Order 66.
Yeah,
to me,
and he doesn't show like great Force competence. Oh, you think after Order 66?
Like the Jedi was hiding, they were a Jedi.
And he said that
still.
she was just as dirty as he was.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I see now.
Yeah, like we were living in a cave or a hole or whatever.
Living and hiding, and found him, and he said, "What little time we had."
Oh, so okay, so he was Force sensitive, and then she was okay, and then she okay. I couldn't really hear what they were saying. I don't like turning subtitles on if I love visually what it looks like, so that makes sense. So basically, he got found by a bedraggled Jedi, and that's when he said they killed her in front of me, and it was only after she taught him a little bit. That makes all the sense in the world. But she tried to pass on those same lessons that would later apply to his pirate life, like you said, Alfie. I mean, the code's very similar.
And when Fern goes like, it's a trick, he's not really a Jedi or whatever, and then he force pushed the shit out of Wim's dad, I was like, all right, this is no BS here. He's not doing any tricks with any magnets or metal or anything here. I'm like, he's got the Force. So.
I felt like once I saw him handle a lightsaber, I was like, okay, he's had some sort of training. Yeah. I also love that they have a blue lightsaber in the the bad guys' hands, which is a great kind of disconnect.
T-Bob, did you know that he took a Form 7 stance with his lightsaber?
Is that Alfie? Is that Alfie's knowledge? Hell yeah, dude. That's the fucking lore master. So. Wait, so who else has Form 7? Do we know?
Mace Windu.
Yeah.
He kind of had like when he pulled it off to the side right at the beginning, he kind of had a Mace Windu stance with it.
I wonder, man. Mace is still out there, but Samuel's getting old, man.
Oh no,
Samuel's getting old. Man.
Why are you this guy?
I'm telling you, I'll shed tears if they ever bring Mace Windu back.
I'm not. After how they, frankly, botched Boba, I'm very hesitant. I'm gonna kind of be measured in my approach to Mace, but it's like anything else. It's the execution. You could maybe do an idea there that would be cool.
I think it would be good too.
I mean, the best Mace Windu is still Clone Wars when he fights the entire army of droids, a cartoon Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like unscrewing bolts and everything just by flicking his hands out and crushing. I mean, unbelievable Mace Windu.
So I wanted to sit there and talk about how T-Bob, you mentioned it already, like Goonies and so forth, but I can sit there and say that there were Indiana Jones, E.T., Goonies, Pirates of the Caribbean, all mixed in. Last Starfighter, all mixed into this show. I mean, there was something of each one of those things, drizzled throughout this show all the way. And you could kind of like it hits you, right? Like you saw that scene, you're like, oh, it gives me the warm and fuzzies because it does take me back to this, right? But they did it well enough to where they weren't copying all of them. And Dr. Squad said a little Wizard of Oz too.
Definitely a little Wizard of Oz.
I heard some people saying that on Rebel Force Radio, and you know what? The Tin Man, the Scarecrow, the Dorothy, they had that in that little group of kids right there. And then you take in there that like Brent and I always We're big fans
Courage.
of Star
Wanna get
Wars
home.
Rebels, and Rebels was such a found family. And this was the same way. These kids all had different talents, all had different skills, all had different personalities. But by the time you get to the end of the show, I mean, look at all three of them running to where KB was, right? Like it meant something. They were not just people who passed in the night. They were now a little family that they put together. And so I really thought that was cool. And I think that sometimes makes Star Wars even better when you do have that, when you have that feeling for each other. That's when Star Wars is really good.
Well, and I thought it was cool because, like, I obviously KB's not gonna like die, right? But I still felt emotion when they were freaked out and she was going down. And that's one thing that I think this final episode, I don't know if I felt a lot in the rest, but like again, between that, the reuniting of the families, and then especially Jude Law's final look, like it did tug. It did tug a bit at some heartstrings. It managed to pull some like emotion out of me that wasn't just like, wow, I'm having so much fun right now. And I thought that was really impressive.
Go ahead, Al.
I agree 100% with what you're saying, but you also have to add on that none of it ever felt forced.
Yeah.
There wasn't any member berries. There wasn't, hey, Kiadi Mondi is in this scene. Well, why is he there? Oh, I don't know. Don't you remember him? He's awesome.
Yeah, true.
Hey, here's Cad Bane. He's a cool bounty hunter. Well, why is he there? Who cares? He's a good
God,
gunfighter.
he was cool live action. They fucking wasted him.
He was cool, but it was wasted. And it was like, he was standing there with a big arrow pointing to him like, hey, kids, it's Cad Bane. Don't you love this? It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, we ran out of original ideas.
So, yeah, I mean, that goes back
It's a fine line
the
you have to
movie
walk.
making magic thing, right? It's in the execution. When you pull it off, it's subtle and it's hard and it takes deft skill. And I just think it takes, well, maybe that's unfair to people who maybe missed the mark. 'Cause I think everybody has a sincerity in their effort, but like, I don't know, man. I feel like when it works, you just feel the love for a project pouring out of its creators.
Yeah. I saw an interview with Jude Law yesterday where this interview I think was before the show even came out. And he was talking about how he wanted to hold his hand using the Force. And he was telling the person he was interviewing with, he's like, I've wanted to do this on screen for 40 years. Like you can tell he loves it. He's like, at first I was doing this and then I realized it was too forced and I realized I need to hold my hands a little lighter. And he's like, it took me a bit on the first day. He's like, but I found it. And it's like, you need people who are making these Star Wars shows because obviously we've been getting a lot of Star Wars. When you have people who are passionate about it, and those kids knocked it out of the park too. But like when you have people who are passionate about it, it turns into what we just saw with Skeleton Crew. I mean, when he said to them, it didn't have to be this way. When KB went down, you can tell he almost felt like shit that she crashed too. Like
he definitely did. He felt awful
when he kept saying she's not going to make it. She's not going to make it.
Yeah, he was like upset about it, and when the kids were reacting, their acting was incredible as well. It was overall great. It was an edge of the seat episode from start to finish.
I think it's a good reminder that, like because like everything else in life, Star Wars has got infused with a lot of politics now, or not. I don't mean like I don't think the content is. I think how we talk about it is, and how people talk about it. And this is a good reminder that if you make a good show, that's all that actually matters, right? Like, I didn't like Acolyte, but not for any of the reasons that a lot of people want to say. I didn't like it because I didn't enjoy the writing. I didn't find it interesting. I watched one episode. I wasn't compelled to watch another. This show had a very diverse lead set of actors. I mean, it was all over those boys, girls, kids, whatever. It didn't matter. Black, white, like whatever. But it was a well-executed show. And it's just another example of you just again, like I said, that's kind of one of my core. Like, no idea is inherently good or bad. Just can you nail it? They nailed it here. You mentioned Indiana Jones. I mean, just the gold room, the size of it, that classic Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of zoom out. And now, how about when they see the stars when the barrier goes down for the first time? They're all like, "Whoa!" It's very much like a really well done welcome to the world at large sort of moment.
So Joey and I were talking about two different things related to this. One, Star Wars doesn't always have to be the Jedi versus the Sith. It's good to have that in there because that's part of the mystique of Star Wars, a little bit of it, right? But it also doesn't have to be this is the Thanos moment, right? Into the universe, into the world kind of thing. Star Wars can be a smaller story about a group of kids on an adventure and still be good. Now we don't know where it's going to tie into and whether it's going to tie into anything, but you can make it on a smaller scale and make it good. It doesn't have to be the end of civilization if this goes wrong.
I don't
Right.
need it to tie into anything, you know. I
Yeah,
mean, if it maybe wants to have an influence or oh look at this they factored in here, sure, but like I really don't. I don't need it. Like if we're going to really want to explore the entire galaxy of Star Wars, we have to have stories that don't affect the Skywalker saga.
I'm all for it. And I brought it up to Brent a week or two ago, and I wasn't saying so much the story side of it. I was talking about the business side of it. Like Lucasfilm sits there and can go, okay, does it make sense for us to tie this to this or whatever for the business side? But the story, like I said, it can be a story. This is it, and you can make a season 2, and it could be another adventure for all I care because I like the characters, I like the people that are involved, and yeah, I mean, I just think it was well done all the way across, and smaller stories sometimes work. So that was about it.
I don't think it has to tie in either, but I think the seeds are definitely there for it to tie into something bigger, and not.
Yeah,
And it
and they
doesn't
will.
necessarily
They
even
will.
have to be any of the characters. I think just leaving that vault full of money is
Yes.
enough to, hey, this can come into play somewhere down the road. Do we ever need to go back there? No, we just have this object that we can insert into another story.
I
To
mean,
make it important.
if we got the story that one of the ways in which the First Order got like a huge power spike was they just completely razed At-Aten and plundered it, and all of a sudden they had the resources they needed to do whatever. And to be fair, I don't know a lot of the new canon extended lore, so I don't know what they've written or not written with First Order. But I mean, that's just a quick example of how like you could play with that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot, but it would tie in well with, I think, the one canon
Shadow.
thing is that they utilized the underworld in the outer rim and different planets through bounty hunters and smugglers to finance the First Order to gain power.
There you go. And these
The
are
other,
illegal. These are basically like black market credits.
and the other thing that I like that I will give Disney credit for so far is one of my things with the sequel trilogy. And for those of you who've heard me on other shows talk about this, I apologize. I'm going to go on my rant. One of the things that I think was a downfall of the sequel trilogy that could have been done differently was we've seen Rebels versus Empire. This was another kind of Rebels versus another kind of Empire in the sequel trilogy. And you could have that's terrible. You could have put the Yuzong Vong or some alien species to replace the First Order and make it a much better story because you're not doing the same thing on repeat. But Disney has mixed in over the past 4 or 5 years on Disney Plus, Mandalorians, pirates, underworld, all these other sections and factions that you can now make shows and movies off of, and it doesn't always have to be the Empire versus the Republic, right? It can be
Yeah.
other things in
Yes.
there.
Yes.
And I think that's at least a positive for them that they've got open stories now that they can follow along with these different factions and groups.
Yeah.
So last night in watching this, and I brought it up today and didn't expand on it. That last scene there with the New Republic showing up,
Mhm.
I said, really made me hate the sequels that much more. And that is because, as a fan of the original trilogy in the EU that we grew up with, the one thing that the sequels lacked was any sense that those sacrifices made in the original trilogy mattered.
Yeah. I mean, Rise of Skywalker
So
just
you
completely fucked that up.
finally get this one scene in this show of the New Republic as the good guys. I don't care about the bureaucracy or the
I like
politics
that.
or any of that stuff.
I like
They
that.
finally got to swoop in and save the day. I understand any story with the New Republic or with Luke's Jedi Academy. There's going to be adversity. There's going to be conflicts. Can't always be perfect. But after so many years, just finally having a scene of seeing that there was good that came from, like that A-Wing pilot's sacrifice of flying into the
Mhm.
Executor's Bridge. It meant
Yeah.
something because there
Yeah.
was good that came from it.
It's a very good point. It's a very sincere point too, and really, I think speaks to a lot of the themes of the shows in terms of like a childlike sincerity versus the kind of cynicism that we've been infected with. And honestly, I love Andor, but it's a very cynical show. Like a lot of the shows, like how much well, again, like the entire Luthen Rail thing, how it's really just two sides of the same coin, right? And like what determines whether it's good or bad. So it is kind of deeply cynical. So yeah, what was the last episode titled? Like the real good guys.
Yeah, the real good
Mhm.
guys.
And Wim's very much like, now the real good guys are showing. That's a great point, Alfie. That actually finally does give weight to all the sacrifices of the original trilogy and the creation of the New Republic.
I agree.
It's a good moment.
Brent, you were going to say something. I think you put a hand up. I thought you had a point on something. Did we cut you off?
I'm sorry.
Probably, because I
No,
never
me.
get to fucking talk on any of this stuff anymore, because I don't have my own Star Wars podcast anymore, and so I'm just so excited to talk about it.
You should go join up. You should go jump on with Ryan McGee on Never Tell Me the Odds. He'd probably love to have you on there.
Oh, I should text Ryan and see if he'd be interested. That's I didn't even know he had Never Tell Me the Odds.
Yeah, he started that up with ESPN, and it's his ESPN Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, him and Field Yates, right? Is
Yep.
that who he does it with? Yeah.
Oh, no way. Oh, that's badass. Okay, I'm gonna check that out. I had no idea. I basically have one best friend who I used to host my For Mandalore pod with, Jesse, and we just call each other every day and probably talk for like 20 minutes about Star Wars and then hang up. But just run theories by each other in different, I don't know, points.
That's what we've done in 5 years of text chain in this group. So
how great was the shot of that ship coming in? When the big ship was coming in, and it was like you could hear the engine
coming out of the clouds,
and then it was just like swooping over, and
And
I was like,
knowing
"What are they
they've
going
never-
to do?" And then they just started popping off on like random cars on the street. I was like, "Oh shit, they're just going to plunder this planet."
Well, I told my family, I told my wife at the time, I was like, this is exactly like if an alien ship just showed up on Earth and started doing this. Like these people don't know, they've never seen spaceships, they've never seen any of this stuff. And here all of a sudden this fucking, Blackbeard Flying Dutchman ship, and it looked ghastly. The shot to me where I literally started laughing out loud because I thought it was so cool was Neil in the bathtub looking through the skylight, and it was all greenish and eerie and crazy, but it was this wonderful mashing together of the mundane and just like the fantastical. That was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I wonder if Lego will put together a Neil bathtub set.
It needs.
I'll tell you what, my wife wants to renovate our bathroom. When she starts asking me about ideas, I'm just going to show her a picture of Neil in the bathtub. Be like, this looks like some good inspiration.
Oh my god!
But the thing is back to the family aspect of this show. She would actually get it because this is the first Star Wars show my whole family has been watching together. Even it's like wife and kids, all of us, we're all watching it together. So the kids are 2 episodes behind. So they have not seen Jod turn yet. And my son he's already on to it. He's just like, he's not good, Dad. I'm like, we'll see. He's
Good
like,
instincts.
He's not good.
Your instincts have served you well.
That is what makes this show special, even more special though. And dude, I've read some stuff about them possibly not doing a season 2 about it.
Yeah.
I know it's all just BS. Because again, like back to what Dr. Squatch said, where he said, I'm worried it'll get the Solo treatment. You know, it's like the Acolyte thing. Like the Acolyte, a lot of people didn't like the Acolyte, and they probably didn't watch this. That's why I'm trying to like actively tweet that it's a great show, and you don't even need to have kids to enjoy this show or whatever. It's like I just think it's a show that anyone can enjoy, and I think that's a mark that Star Wars has been trying to hit, and I think they hit it with
They
this.
finally hit it, dude.
Yeah.
This show needed to be after The Mandalorian. It's unfair that it's coming in,
Dude.
you know, in the downward spiral of Disney Plus.
If that came out after The Mandalorian,
Mm.
people would be losing their mind. If just Mandalorian and Skeleton Crew were back to back, it would be.
I mean, we're talking Mando season 2. Season 3 was fine.
So like
season 1, because I thought season 2 was a masterpiece.
Yeah, say it came out after Mando season 2. Like the hype would be incredible.
Yeah, you'd be rolling.
So yeah, D-Doc, you saw that from Marcus Gilbert.
Oh, I love that.
First Star Wars my kid actively wanted to watch with me on her own. Love that time. I mean,
yeah, man.
That's look, my dad hates Star Wars. Okay, my dad's 71 years old. It's not a fit for him. Star Wars was something I grew up with. It was part of my life pretty much ever since I was 6. I got to see Joey grow up with it. Now he's watching Frankie grow up with it. And it is a very much something you pass along to that next person. And having those times where I'll just get random texts from Joey, about it and about Star Wars stuff. And I'm like, I'm 53, he's 31, and we're just texting about Star Wars. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of, it's sports and Star Wars. We can do that. What was it? City Slickers. Remember that? You guys know City Slickers?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Where he goes, my dad and I it wasn't perfect. We didn't always get along, but we could always talk about this, right? And Star Wars and sports for us are two of the things that we will always be able to talk about. So yeah,
it's our modern day mythology, right?
Mhm.
It's Zeus and everything else, and these movies are us seeing the temples and all the artwork and everything, and yeah, man, it's God, it was and then like my 4-year-old, right? We're like at the end of the last episode, when Jude Law busts a lightsaber right before the episode ends in front of all the family. We're all talking before the final about like what do you think's gonna happen. And my 4-year-old she has this weird thing. She kind of loves the bad guys, and she's like, maybe he'll just kill like one of them. He'll kill like one parent, and then he'll get stopped. So we're like, whoa, what? Damn, Odie, chill out, dude.
Hey, Adam Parker's bringing it right here. If this were happened where Book of Boba Fett was,
Yes.
we'd have Neil plushies everywhere next to Grogu. Alfie's been saying it all along. Disney has to hit its mark with. There's got to be a crossover where Neil has to either hold or help baby Grogu in something.
If they sell a set of toys with all the kids, I mean, I'm buying that in a second.
Go ahead, Brent.
So what you just said was kind of leading into what I think I was going to say earlier, which is we as Star Wars fans want everything to be connected, and we want to have this mysterious reveal, right? So Luke, I am your father, that mysterious reveal, and every Star Wars fan is waiting every episode or every show to see that Star Wars reveal. I love the fact that they didn't bring anybody in, and they didn't have this surprise cameo. They didn't have all of that stuff. They didn't have the greater connection to the larger storyline. The problem is, because it's not connected to the larger storyline, we have what we have, which is low ratings on the show. And it's not just the low ratings, and then I get the Debbie Downer because I'm like the realistic. The whole organization is pivoting away from Disney Plus, just like Alfie is saying. Yeah. This is kind of on the back end of doing Disney Plus. So,
but you know what though? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, it may not be it may be a business decision to not have a season 2 because they're not buying into and greenlighting and paying for the cinematic TV shows because it's not getting them the return on their investment. If they did, they might do a movie out of it. It's potential, but
it could have movie potential for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'd be interested to see another one.
Yes.
But that's one of the strongest part of this show is that it had an ending.
Mm-hmm.
Like our the threads were resolved. It did the great thing that every show seeks to do, where the main storyline threads were resolved. Like they didn't really leave anything on the main storyline. Like show about characters, like what they go back. The kids are back home. The pirates are defeated. Everybody's reunited. Now, yes, Ad-Atten suddenly discovered it's part of the larger galaxy. Whatever. Like there's a lot of stories that could be told, but our story, it's like a New Hope in that way.
Yep.
New Hope. That's why I love it so much. It's a self-contained story, 3 acts, beginning, middle, end, and it's one of the reasons that I think makes it really strong. So if we never get a season 2, does that suck in a lot of ways?
Yeah.
Yes, but better to have loved and lost than to have never
Yeah.
loved at all. And at
There's
least we
nothing
laughed and loved.
saying that they can't show up somewhere else. I mean, they
Yeah.
never resolved what happened to Jod.
Sure.
He
So
might
you
be
could
out there
have.
somewhere.
I could see them. I would love to see them possibly show up in another, like, just as a side character, right? Like those nuggets in the background, those Easter eggs that show up. But like, as far as making a full on, like, I just don't see that happening.
What you don't know is that the First Order raided Ad-Atten and Wim and all the other kids ended up manning ships in Exegol.
Why not though?
You know, we
Because
never knew, but they were in a secret pocket universe the entire time, just slaving away, creating Palpatine's Death Battalion.
When the ships were rising, Neil was in his bathtub looking at them like, "Oh shit, this is happening right now."
you
Man,
essentially have the start for Rebels 2.0 right here.
Yeah.
You have the kids, they have
Yep.
a droid, they have a ship. It
That
doesn't
okay,
have to
that,
stay
that
on Ad-Atten.
I was going to say from a business perspective, that now I don't know if that would be like necessarily where I would want it to go, but that does seem like
Yeah.
let's just make a kid show out of this for sure. But like
Yeah.
you know, like an animated show.
There was
I-
also a little bit of Rebels in there too, which no one's really met. When Shmi, when she was
Shmi.
using Shmi's head to navigate, it reminded me of I think it's Rebels, where they took the
Mhm.
super tactical droid head and try to find Rex.
Also,
Yes.
I love the name SM-33 and the
Yes.
subtle Smee call. It's so well done.
And
Another Rebels call with the B-Wing.
Yeah.
yes, I
Wait, so have you
love-
seen a B-Wing laser cannon? Have we seen them
In
with
Rebels.
the laser
in
cannon?
Rebels? They
Yeah.
were the
Oh, okay.
prototypes in Rebels.
Yeah. That was
I
pretty
thought that
sweet.
last night. where
Didn't
I
have
was
a
like,
hyperdrive so that it could have the like diamond laser.
I was a big X-Wing miniatures fan for years and years and years, and I used to love the B-Wings. dude.
Well, yeah, but then they came out with the Phoenix Squadron, which was the prototype B-wing, like right.
oh, so
towards-
that had the cannons on it?
So,
Yeah.
so right towards the end of the X-wing lines, right before they kind of sunsetted the game. When I was getting into miniatures, one of the ones they put out was Phoenix Squadron. You could have Hera fly it, and it was the prototype B-wing.
See, I that was after my time.
Yeah,
I was being tortured by TLTs, twin laser turrets. I think back in the
oh
day.
yeah.
On the Slave Master or the Jump Masters, not Slave on the Jump Masters. Yeah, that was the meta.
D-Doc, Adam Parker Squatch, they're throwing tons in the comments. Steve Spikes is throwing. I think that's Steve Spikerman right there.
Oh, look at
I
that!
never-
Yeah, there we go.
You
There.
never opened it, huh?
I never
Gorgeous.
opened my Slave One when I got this because me and my brother would play a campaign with these guys every 2 weeks where we had this book and we were playing against the computer on
Wait,
X-Wing.
I remember that. I never played it,
Yeah.
dude. I looked it up though, but I never. How was it? Did you enjoy it?
It was awesome, dude. And I mean, we eventually stopped, which it's like something we just stopped just because guys' schedules started getting jumbled up and stuff. Like we enjoyed the hell out of it while it was going on. Like we would put on, like the dude had like a projector. He would put on like a Star Wars movie or music. We would just play it for like hours, and it was so entertaining, man. I still have all my ships here. The detail on those ships is incredible, and it's funny that you bring up X-Wing, T-Bob, because it's like I saw those B-Wings doing those shots last night, and I'm like,
what it
I
feels like
remember
to
them
fly
from
'em.
X-Wing, yeah, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen them shoot before. Like
That's the craziest part about the X-Wing miniatures game is it truly gives you the feeling that you know what it feels like to fly the different ships and the differences and quirks and intricacies of each ship. It's such a wonderfully designed game.
It's amazing.
You want to do K turns, but when they went to 2.0, they actually when they went to X-Wing 2.0, they created new cardboards, and they also created a new X-Wing where you could have the S foils open or closed.
Oh,
Yeah, so the X-Wing miniature actually had the S foils open and closed. So, and if it was closed, it moved faster. If it was open, it had a better aim or something. There was a benefit to locking the S
Bro,
foils.
if y'all want
So
a
when they said,
great, oh,
hold
go
on a
ahead, go
second.
ahead.
When they said when they were flying in, they were like lock S foils in attack position. My brain just went to the miniature game.
I
So-
think you guys have unleashed something with the B wings, man. Everybody's Parker, Squatch, Steve Spikes. They're all digging the B wings.
I have one sitting in a box in my closet.
Me too. I got all mine in the closet right over here. But like the thing about the B wing is, it's kind of like the Falcon in that its design is so off the wall. Like that's what a spaceship could and should be designed like, right? Because there's no air physics. You're in space, right? So you can have the cockpit like here and have the ship rotate around it or whatever. So
that gyroscoping cockpit is
it's
absolutely
just so odd.
Yeah. Brent's finding his stash.
I know Brent's about to break something out right now.
This is what I'll say too. If y'all want a fun YouTube video watch, go watch the first X-Wing Miniatures World Championship from the original season 1 set. And it's like Biggs Darklighter tanking a TIE squadron, and it's incredible, dude. Oh, look at that, dude.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Oh, look at that.
Now that Brent mentioned like the 2.0, that's kind of when I stopped playing, is when that came out.
Wait, that's what's his name? No, I know it's an A-Wing, but that's is that from the Aces box? Is that the Aces A-Wing, or is that the normal one? Like, okay, I couldn't remember if blue or green was the normal.
I didn't purchase any of these. These were all gifted to me.
Bro, and that's the thing. A-Wings, they're fucking fast. Zippy little motherfuckers. You load up some proton missiles on them. Oh, the K-Wing? Oh,
yeah, it almost looks like a Romulan starfighter in a way.
You could drop like nets. That A-Wing, K-Wing used to have a net. You could drop
Alfie,
those.
we've gone off the rails with the miniatures.
I mean, when this was before kids, and when my wife would leave town, me and my best friend would grind X-Wing for 13 hours. He ended up winning the Atlanta Regional, going to nationals. He won like a 180 person tournament. It was incredible.
Wow.
It's a super fun game. I mean, me and my brother still mention it. Will still be like, man, we wish we still played that with those guys.
Is that the prototype Interceptor?
I think I have that too, actually.
And then there's the defend.
That's from Aces. That's an Aces Interceptor right there. It's a fast little fuck.
The other one's the Defender, isn't it?
I think it's the Defender.
That's a Defender. You're right. It is a Defender. It's not the prototype. That's the Defender. That's that's the bomber.
No, I don't have the bomber. That's
Vader's.
Is that the Vader flies? That's the advance of Vader flies.
I love it. Brent, Steve Spikes. Brent, the prototype B-Wing was orange.
There's the what do they call them?
No, I don't have the prototype.
What do they call the first order ties? What do they call them? I don't remember.
First order ties.
Oh, just first order ties.
All I know is they were really
first
weird.
order special forces ties.
Yeah,
I only know that from my game.
Whose ship is that? Whose ship is that? Is Carnus Rex or something? Whose ship is that? What the fuck?
Is that from like an Isard ship?
It's
Captain Cardinal or something? Maybe?
No, it's not Captain Cardinal. It's from the original stuff, but it does have a
because Miniatures game has a ton of EU stuff in it, right?
Yeah.
This is Elric Von Rig. Never mind. I don't remember that. I don't remember a pilot named Elric Von Rig.
I forget which ship I bought that was so good when we were playing against it. Damn, which ship was it?
What was the Phantom? There was one Empire ship that had this cloaking device that was just so hard to nail down. Maybe so. I think it was a Phantom. Phantom's a ship. I can't remember.
And Brent, you got a lot of freaking.
Is that Armada? Man. That's Armada, though,
this
right?
Is Armada. This is Armada.
Come on.
It's like the larger scale. That's a larger scale game.
My playmat is still on my table over here. My X-Wing playmat.
Oh yeah,
that's what I built my Legos on now. So
I mean, it's such a good feeling, Matt, to put little pieces on and move around. I mean, I'll tell you what always flew great, dude. The Falcon. The Falcon having the little one quick turn. Oh,
the first one I bought.
Roll. Let's go, dude.
It's at school. I have it like posted up at school as like my little tchotchkes and knickknacks. But I have my
I gotta display those. Cause
I bought all the season 2 cardboards and everything just because I was like, one day I'm going to play this again. I still never have, but one day I am.
With your
One day
son.
my kids are going to get
Yeah, with
exactly.
your
My kids are going
kids.
to get old enough, and my oldest daughter is very much like me, huge nerd, and I'll be like, all right, it's time. You're ready. The Z-Wing.
No, I
Right?
think this is the Headhunter.
Dude, the detail on those ships is just so good, though. It's incredible.
So like a
even
Z95 headhunter.
Z95,
Yeah,
not a Z-Wing.
Z95.
Z95. That's what it is. I knew there was a Z in there. Thank you, Alpha.
I just
Book
used
of
to go
Alfie
to
coming through.
I just used to go to Barnes and Noble and just sit there
Ah.
and look at the shelves of all the X-wing stuff, and that's how I got my first lightsaber. Right before like Meg was due like in a month with our first child, and I remember calling her from Barnes and Noble and saying, "How mad would you be at me right now if I bought a lightsaber?" Is my camera off? What the hell?
D-Duck, you're frozen up on me.
Audio's great, though, dude.
Yeah. Well, hey, you guys, we can keep talking miniatures. What? Anything else you want to hit before we, as D-Doc knows, I love to close up shop. Anything else you want to hit in this long extended show that we're doing tonight?
No, I just want to thank y'all, man. This has been so much fun. Even down to this insane miniatures foray here at the end. Like, I cannot tell you, this is definitely my most played and most loved miniatures tabletop board game of all time. And so to just get to talk about this is just wild, man.
Yeah, now can we talk about my game for like 20, 25 minutes?
Any whales out there, Alfie?
Hey, this was actually in Skeleton Crew.
Look at that little tiny
What?
tank.
It was a
That's a little
Corvette.
tiny tantive.
Yeah, a little Corvette.
Tiny,
Little
tiny.
blockade runner.
I have
back
a
on camera? I'm back.
I have the X-wing Tantive. I've never flown it though. It was for like they had special campaigns built around it. And
The
and
epic
whatnot.
size. The epic
Yeah.
size one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brent,
I do
I'll take any donations of stuff you want to get rid of, Brent.
I do have two things written down on my final thoughts, though. I don't know
Okay.
if you're wrapping up.
It-
Are you wrapping
Yes,
up? Right
yeah.
now, Joe?
Let's wrap up. Let's
We're
go around the table.
There's a squadron of bombers.
All right, I'll start the wrap up. That's what she said. Number one, I know I've already shown this, but I need to show it to T-Bob. T-Bob.
No way. You got the Barad-dûr Lego set, dude.
Mrs. Doc got it for me for Christmas, man. It's heavy. I haven't built it yet because I don't know where the hell I'm going to put it because I got the
Dude.
Disney. I've got the Disney castle behind me here, so I'm gonna have to redo my shelves.
Oh, is that a Lego back there? The Disney Castle? I just
Yeah.
saw it. That thing is beautiful.
Dude, it's massive. So I'm probably gonna put Barad-dûr right next to that somehow. It's gonna be like two things I
the
love. right
duality
next
of
to each
man. The duality of man. Cinderella's castle and Barad-dûr right next to each other.
Exactly. And number two, while we have you here, I know you're a Disney man. Now,
Yeah.
one of my personal favorite things, everyone thinks it's weird in Disney. I need to ask if you've been to it. Have you been to the Enchanted Tiki Room at Disney? The Tiki Room.
Like, yeah, the
With the
tiki room,
birds.
like tiki, yeah. I fucking love the tiki room, dude. You just go
Dude.
little. It's old school. It's wonderful. It's early animatronics. I'm in Hawaii all of a sudden, erupting volcanoes, storms. Yes, dude.
Dude, that is that is like, to me, like quintessential, like OG Disney. I
Yeah.
love going
Yes.
to the Tiki Room.
Because that's what Walt loved.
Yeah.
Walt was
Carousel
like,
of
I went to Hawaii. It was so crazy. Carousel of Progress was great too. Absolutely.
Carousel
I'm
of
just
Progress is
pissed.
better.
I'm sad because they're getting rid of Tom
Tom
Sawyer,
Island.
and they're
Yeah.
doing
They're
it
gonna
for
put-
cars.
I don't
They're gonna put
believe it.
in.
I still don't believe it. I think the backlash was too bad.
Nope.
I think
knew it.
I think they're pumping the brakes on it, man.
They paved paradise and they're put up a parking lot.
That's
I-
exactly what it
look,
would be. That's
I get it.
Perfect. Yeah.
I get it. IPs, business, adjust, change. I get all of it. But
Hey.
I'll be damned if Adventureland and Tom Sawyer's Island aren't some of the sort of last vestiges of Walt's original vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
I got a peace out, boys. Have a
Right.
good one. Thanks, man.
All right, Brent, laid it
Good
up.
Brent.
And I just went to the Land for the first time this past year, which was incredible. And I don't think they're going to get rid of like the layout there, obviously, but man, I know you're a Disney man, and I'm the same, man. I'm always just I've talked to my wife. I'm like, I want to get Vacation Club or something, man, because
So
I just
we're
love going.
lucky. My wife's parents are that's their favorite thing to do with like the grandkids. So they bought Vacation Club, and so that's why we get to go so much. We just take advantage of them, and
Dude,
we
I
go
love
with them every year. I can't wait. We're going back in March.
I'll be on Instagram stories. I'll be like, oh, T-Bob's and Disney. I need to make sure I check all his stories, or like Joe.
Epcot beers are the best beers in the entire world, dude.
It made me fall in love with two beers, Sapporo in Japan. I randomly buy Sapporo just because it makes me feel like I'm in Epcot, and I love Einstock Porter from Norway when you're there too. So,
oh, dude, Norway's beers are so good. All right, boys, my wife just turned on the vacuum cleaner. It's the most passive aggressive, unsubtle way to say shut the fuck up. But hey, I really do love you guys. Thank you so much. Y'all
Love
are
you
the
too, Bob.
absolute best.
We'll talk soon.
All right, later, guys.
See ya. Alfie, man, what about you? Closing up.
I had a discussion in one of my group chats today because I'm in like I don't know how many goddamn Star Wars group chats, but somebody was complaining about this finale and questions being unanswered, things they wanted to see. I said, "Is that not one of the best critiques you could give a show? Is that you want more?
Yeah.
You're upset that there's not more of it. I think if that's your attitude at the end, then it's done a pretty good job."
Yeah. I would agree with you. Unanswered questions are sometimes okay if they get your mind thinking and imagining new and different things. I talked about it with some people recently. The Acolyte left some unanswered questions, but those were like plot hole foundational questions.
Yeah, those are some big ones.
Yeah.
I think if you would have given a 10-second post-credit scene of Jod with a bag of credits and pilfering a X-wing or something to that extent,
Yeah.
I think that would have been very satisfying. It may have needed, but then again, I don't think it really needed that. He's still there, and you know how crafty he is. You know that he can use the Force. You have to assume, like Han Solo, he's going to find a way out of this somehow.
He always
and
seems to
keep on surviving.
Who's going to arrest him? I mean, the people were just shocked to even see stars, and it seemed like the New Republic was just like, we took these ships out, we're out of here. You know?
And these people have never really been outside of their city on this whole planet.
Right.
Like we've seen from the beginning, if you go into the woods, a droid shows up and tells you to leave.
Go back home. Yeah.
So,
damn it. I wrote down Starship Troopers and I forgot to mention that. Remember the brain in Starship Troopers?
Yeah.
When they take out the brain.
Afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like him killing that in there.
Well, I think the series was great. And like I said before, I think it's a just absolute travesty that it comes in the death spirals of Disney Plus. I think Disney Plus is done. I think the legacy stuff will be on there, but it's only going to get more expensive as more people continue to drop it, and especially with no new content. It's a sad thing because I think it had so much potential, but I really liked the show, and I'm glad that we got it.
Well,
I hope to see more of it in some form of media.
We just need to get some more physical media of all the things they've made on there now that we want to have since it'll go bye-bye. But fellas, that was a lot of fun. Miniature time, T-Bob time, skeleton crew time. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did this. So I'm sure we'll put the whole thing together with our little glitch at the beginning. We'll get it all sorted out here. But I can't thank you guys enough. I appreciate you. And yep. Dr. Squatch, Adam Parker, you guys have been here the whole ride. Thanks for joining in and giving us comments. Hey, we got 305 in the books. I've got some interviews with Scott Rifen, with Mark Newbold, Mark Mulcaster of Fantha Tracks coming up. I'm supposed to go do a review Skeleton Crew show on Fantha Tracks, their podcast, so go check that out. But other than that, This is a nice long one, and we'll probably have some good content coming out over the next 2 weeks. Maybe we'll take a week off next week, and we just finished a big show. Let's take a week off, and I've got, like I said, some content, so we'll fill in that time and let people have that. But that's all I've got. You guys were great. T-Bob was great. Brent was great. Thanks for that. Everybody in the chat, that was awesome. All your insight. And you know what? Until next time, because we don't know if it'll be next week.